Y'all, I just did a video on that is titled Forgive But Never Forget. And, I was looking on TikTok and I saw something that, kind of like put the nail on the head, and actually made the point really clear, talking about narcissistic abuse. Okay, please, if you're new to the channel, join the family, subscribe, like the video, and share. And you can leave your comments as well. Okay, and the video I'm going to share, it's talking about a pastor that killed his wife with a shotgun, burnt her and buried her, okay? And they had 2 children. She was a nurse. She also had a staffing agency that had like a multi-million-dollar, I guess, their gross or whatever. So she was doing very well. I mean, they were doing very well, but he had history of violence. Even though he was a pastor, he had history of violence, and because the key word they said was that she didn't leave him because she wanted to keep their family together. All right. I want you all to watch this, okay, and understand that how deep and dangerous it is when you keep a narcissist, or maybe you separate and then you invite them back. They said that she was trying to divorce this man. She had contacted a divorce attorney, and maybe he got wind of it and just ended her life. Okay, just ended her life. All right. So, we need to stop taking this narcissistic abuse, taking it like saying, well, it's not that big a deal. No, anybody that is encouraging somebody to stay with somebody that is, that they have complained has been abusive, that person is not your friend. That person is not your family. Run far away from them. Okay. And I just said it in my other video, saying, or because of the kids, I'm gonna stay with this man. It is not any reason to stay with a narcissist, an abuser. That is the worst reason to stay with a narcissist. Okay? Watch this video.
A husband shoots his wife to death, a wife who he'd been with for 14 years and shares 2 children together. He then takes her body to the backyard, burns her, and then buries her body in a shallow grave. 39-year-old Kenneth Harden Jr. shot 40-year-old Carrie Harden, his wife, in their home after a domestic dispute. Now, Kenneth Harden is a pastor, okay? And his wife is a nurse, but she also owned a multi-million-dollar nurse staffing company that she built from the ground up. So they were doing very well for themselves. On the day that he killed his wife, he called his father and flew his father out to Georgia, where they live, where this actually took place. It's alleged that he met his father at the bank, gave his father access to all of his financial information, gave him his last will and testament, and then ultimately confessed to his father that he killed his wife and said that he would be on the run. He then fled to Louisiana, where he was apprehended, but his father was the one who made the call to turn him in. Now, a friend of Carrie said that she texted her late that night and asked her if she could come over and spend the night with her.
And a half. She was brutally murdered after years of hiding from others the domestic violence that she suffered. Advocates for victims of domestic violence hope others will hear this story and they will reach out for help.
I never imagined that something like this would happen to Carrie. It's like, no way.
Carrie was too big for this to happen to her.
Alicia Allen and Chastity Adams Miller are still in shock over their friend's brutal murder. Carrie Harden graduated from Fort Zumwalt South High School, became a nurse, and then built a multi-million-dollar nurse staffing business.
So the most impressive thing about Carrie was she always wanted to improve on things.
Carrie married Ken Harden, and they moved to Georgia in 2020. But there had been a previous incident of domestic violence.
Kenny had bust out the window to the bathroom to get to her and chased her down the road with a gun.
I asked her mother why Carrie never left Ken.
She wanted to keep her family together, and she believed that he would stop, that he wouldn't really harm her.
From the couple's home outside of Atlanta, hours before her murder, Carrie texted her friend Alicia asking if she could come stay with her.
I'm not going to call the police because, I'm just afraid that something bad will happen out of it. And I just want to go to sleep and I'm going to lay down and hopefully nothing happens.
Carrie Harden had taken a job at Cochrane VA Medical Center and contacted a divorce attorney. Ken Harden's accused of shooting his wife with a shotgun, burning her body, and burying it in a shallow grave.
It breaks my heart that I didn't call the police for her.
A GoFundMe account has been set up to help with the legal battle to settle Carrie's estate and seek custody of the couple's 2 children.
Fayette County Sheriff Barry Babb says in his almost 40 years of law enforcement experience, this is one of the more grisly crimes he's had to work. But thanks to quick work and coordination with other agencies, they were able to catch this suspect, even though he'd fled all the way to Louisiana.
It's shocking as hell. Definitely seemed like something that would be on like on one of those shows. I didn't expect that.
Jabril Muhammad says he would have never expected his neighbor, 39-year-old Kenneth Harden Jr., to be accused of something like this.
He seemed like a cool dude. Like I said, he had a fireworks show down here for the kids before the 4th of July.
Fayette County Sheriff Barry Babb says Harden shot and killed his wife, 39-year-old Carrie Harden, early Tuesday morning while his children slept.
So they went to school on Tuesday, never seen their mother.
The sheriff's office says it learned of the crime after Harden flew his father into town and gave him his last will and testament.
He had told his father that he had shot his wife and pretty much that he was now going to be on the run.
Harden's father called the sheriff's office, who began investigating. Babb says a license plate reader helped them track Harden's car to a motel in Louisiana. A SWAT team there moved to take him into custody while they searched the large property for his wife's body.
I got almost basically 2 calls at the same time that the cadaver dog located our victim, which was buried in a very shallow grave on the back part of the property, and at the same time that the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office took him into custody without incident.
Sheriff Babb says the body was partially burned. He says Fayette County investigators got on the first flight to Louisiana Thursday morning, where they've apparently had no trouble interviewing Harden.
The thing that I want you all to understand is that this woman stayed knowing that she was being abused because she wanted to keep up appearances, right? They said that she didn't want her family to break apart, right? The husband was a pastor, probably more likely a covert narc, okay? Going around hugging babies and kissing older women and all this different stuff, carrying handbags and all that stuff, preaching in the pulpit. Meanwhile, behind closed doors, he was a demon. Okay, so she kept up appearances for long enough for this man to destroy her. Okay, dealing with somebody, think about what he did. Created his will. So he was master planning her death, her destruction behind the scenes while he was living with her. Okay, that's why I tell women, and I keep stressing this, especially women, you know, because we have a soft spot for, oh, I have children, oh, blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't want my children to be hurt. I don't want this or that. But meanwhile, the children are being abused too. Look at it. Now they've lost both their mom and their dad. What if she took action earlier? Right? What if she took action earlier and left this man earlier? I'm not putting the blame on her, but what I'm saying is this, you know, that it's time for us to get out of this mindset that if you're in an abusive relationship, having children, having a marriage or keeping up appearances, you know, and also she was a nurse, you know what I'm saying? You know, she had this, you know, they had this image. They had this image of a lovely, put together family, right? And they had to maintain that image. Okay, they had to maintain, and she literally died. She literally died to maintain that image. It's not worth it, guys. It is not worth your life. It is not worth your life. Narcissistic abuse is taking people's lives. Okay? These narcissists, especially the covert narcissists, they are the worst. Because even when you tell your family and friends that this person is doing all these things to you, it's like, for real? Are you serious? You know, because they have this false appearance outside. They have a mask that they only pull out when they're at home with you and the kids. People that are really close to them, right? You know, so raising awareness for narcissistic abuse I just feel like it is one of my life's goals, purposes, right? To let women know you don't have to stay. I have a cousin that died literally from this kind of thing. Killed by her husband the same way. except it was, well, a different kind. It wasn't with a gun, but still. Okay? All right? So let us spread awareness about this thing. Okay? Stop staying because of the children. Leave. If you have a chance to leave, even if you're going to a homeless shelter, even if you're going to be in a group home, even if you're going to be sleeping in your car, leave before it's too late. If you discern that the person that you're staying with, your family member, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, even your kids are narcissists, get away from them. Get away from them before it's too late. Okay? This is Set to Achieve, and I approved this message. God bless.